it was like something from like Johnny Mnemonic or something like that. It was like it's really kind of cool actually in a sort of weird way, considering I grew up on this kind of sci-fi fodder.
Well, I just rewatched Thor: Love and Thunder on Disney Plus, and my God, I was just looking at like from visually, like visual effects aspect. It's like there is a lot. Like my God, what you guys have to go through. I mean, it's a lot of work, right?
It's a lot of work. Yeah, I mean, it's with the phrase "it takes a village." I think it's an extremely large village at this stage.
Yeah.
And the trouble slash advantage of the Thor stuff from where I sit is you always are going from here to there, right? They're always roller coaster films, and you never go back anywhere. So you basically like every minute, and it almost is like I said, the film is 2 hours long. It's almost like every few minutes you've got to build like another universe, city, like environment. And yeah, our artists. I mean, having talked to many of them, the one thing that everybody does love about the Thor films is they can be anything. The downside of that is that they can be anything. So, and you have to make them different. You have to make each environment different. So it's not like, when you go from the goat boat, right? When you say on that sort of this romantic scene where they're looking at space dolphins and you've got this frozen aurora borealis sea thing that they're on, I guess. And then how do you get into the moon of shame? All of a sudden, the answer is, well, we've got to make it all black and white now. And then so you bleach all the color out and you arrive there. And we do the tiny planet gag, basically, where you think it's a huge like epic space shot, and you get there, and then all of a sudden they're walking around. It's just one thing after another. I mean, I think it's kind of visually relentless. So thanks for saying so.
Yeah, no, I'm just watching it from that aspect because at first you watch it just for the story, right? And then the second time you tend to analyze it a little more. So I was reading up about how VR was used in this. Can you explain how the VR is coming into play for visual effects, and is that associated with the volume? Do they call it the volume or the stagecraft, or is it interchangeable?
They call it the volume. So the stagecraft is ILM's branded. It's their company, I guess, on the side that makes the stuff to go on the walls. But an LED volume has been around as a technology for a very long time. Like we've been using. I mean, I would have used it for car commercials. I think I would have done some stuff in an LED volume for Thor 2, actually, and I think when they're driving through London. So it's just that the idea that it's a surrounding bunch of LED screens. We started off using VR for that because it was, you have to make decisions before you start shooting on what the world's going to be. And it's looking at stuff in terms of concept art, flat artwork. It tells you something. You can get quick decisions. You can quickly do 20 different sketches of different planets, and then, but it doesn't tell you what it's going to feel like in the movie. So then you move into the three-dimensional realm where nowadays when people do matte paintings, they actually don't just paint them flat. They'll actually create a 3D environment in the computer and then paint over the top of it. But what you can do with that, now you've got a 3D environment, is you can actually fly around it. Sometimes just from one angle, because you only go see it from there. And then sometimes you build it much more photorealistically from all angles. So we've kind of embraced that. I think it was a good way to get Taika immersed in the world. We had this kind of weird little, because we're in the middle of COVID zone, right? So it was, everything was everybody's being super careful about everything as they should be. But we had one room that we could go in where everything was sterilized, and you had 4 headsets hanging from the ceiling. It was like some weird Kubrick kind of nightmare thing. It was kind of great, actually. And then the 4 of us had 4 swivel seats, and then we'd all go in and we'd all strap in, and then the maestro, the VR maestro that we had, Pat, would then patch us in. It was like something from like Johnny Mnemonic or something like that. It was like it's really kind of cool, actually, in a sort of weird way, considering I grew up on this kind of sci-fi fodder, finally doing it. And you would suddenly be in that world, and it was probably just a grayscale version of the world, but because it's stereoscopic, your brain just makes sense of it, and you go like, oh, what the hell's over there? Well, and so we started getting into this sort of idea of this. and then we started going, well, why the hell are we just using this for the sets we're building in the volume? Why aren't we building this? You know, like the whole town we built, like this New Asgard was a town that we built just west of Sydney. And it's not super big. Like we shot it to make it look like it's bigger than it is, but you're going to construct the entire thing. So, and the art departments nowadays work in 3-dimensional in CAD or whatever. So we were like, hang on a minute, we've got a 3D version of the town that they're planning to build. Why don't we just go and have a little wander through? So we loaded it up. We went in there, and obviously building a town like that is super expensive. You know, tons of construction. And so we were able to go with Taika, like, look, are you ever gonna? We're all flying around, right? You can see each other's heads in this virtual space, right? So like if Taika flies off there, which you will do, like you can see him zipping off just as this head. And then you've got all the lenses. We've actually got all of the lenses that we've got in our cinematic kit, like the real ones, mapped and in the world. And at any point, you could just put up what would it look like through this particular Ultra Vista 50 or whatever it is, and then shoot snapshots from there. So you can get to any angle anywhere in the world and in this environment, and then capture what it looks like, and then save them off, and then later on everybody can look at them. So Taika could actually go through and say, well, no, I'm only going to cover the scene from here. It's got to be here to here. The sun's, you know, and then Baz himself would be like, the sun's going to be over there. So this will be the backlit one. This is what you want for most of this. And then he said, well, I'm never going to see over here. So why would I even bother building like a lot of that stuff? And so, and then, or he'd go in and go, why are all the buildings in New Asgard like 100 feet tall? You know, it's a Norwegian fishing village, and we're just literally the lad who's running the VR stuff would literally just take the buildings and just go, and it was like this hand of God coming in, just rearranging the environment around you. It's nuts.
That's very cool.
Yeah, it was good. I'll do it again and again. It's great.
Now, I'm curious. So when you use this new technology versus green screen, so is this new technology, once it's in camera, it's set, can you change it around in editing? Because in green screen, you can pretty much do everything, right, in post.
Yeah.
Are you stuck with that? Are you stuck, or can you still mess around with it in editing?
You are stuck with it. And it's what we used it for is, we used it very differently to how they're using it on the Star Wars shows. Star Wars shows that they're trying to get everything in camera 100% if they can do. We didn't have that as the goal here. We had it for like a fully immersive environment for the actors to be in. So if you take Indigar, if you've got Chris sitting at the top of the hill, we built the mound for him to be on with the Jamborambin tree, because that is what it's called. And then the LED volume around him, we put in this massive vista of this beautiful dawn landscape. We changed it all later, but we changed it with the better version of what we had there on the day. So Chris could sit there, he could see what was going to be out there. And one by one, all the actors said this to me: the joy of not staring at a blue screen with a me pointing, like, because what we normally do is you have to like get a laser pointer and you like point up there and you go, that's where the dragon is. Dragon's up there. Look at, okay, now the dragon's going over here. To be able to actually show them a basic rendering of that, really helpful for their performances. They all told us. And then lighting, from a lighting point of view, instead of the director of photography coming in and basically getting a bit of concept art and going, well, the sun's kind of here and it's kind of orangey and this is kind of here and kind of, and lighting people with lights that aren't necessarily as far away as they would be in real life, because the sun is a very long way away. We were able to sort of drench the actors in this much more complicated light, which again, we replaced it all, but once you've got whatever light is on the actors is stuck. That's the, you know, you want that performance with that lighting, and then you back build the world into that. And so kind of after you've got like really good actors and they do good performance, having good lighting on them, which looks like the environment you're supposed to be in, is really important. And that was kind of like the golf game on this one, to come up with like the perfect scores, try and just make the lighting on the actors because visual effects, you think of it as just probably just the blue screens or the CG characters and the CG props and effect. It's actually the world building. It all ripples around that lighting on that one actor. And so trying to get that right was the interesting challenge on this one. There's good sides and bad sides to all the technology, like all tech. Sometimes, as we did many times, just walk the actors outdoors, put up a little blue screen. Sometimes I would just have them walk along, like literally, like walk along with a couple of grips holding a blue screen just in front of them, because all you care about is just protecting the hair. Like, you want to make sure you've got the blue screen hair, and natural light feels better. But it's a fantastical space opera kind of a movie, so putting them in the volume for a lot of the weird stuff was good too.
I'm sure they appreciate it, because I always wonder, like, well, staring at a ball is not the same thing. Tennis ball or laser is not the same thing. So I'm sure they appreciate all the technology helping them along. Well, thank you so much. We can talk all day, but congratulations on the film, and I'll probably be watching it one more time.
Oh, thank you. No, I really appreciate that. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you so much.